guys, welcome back to the show, the Dope Black Chick Podcast. Today's conversation, it lit a fire in me, and I believe it's going to do the same for you. I came across a piece of Afrofuturistic art by today's guest, Kimberly Offord, and I felt something stir. It was pride, it was joy, power, and possibility. What it did is it reminded me that the future really is ours, and sometimes we just need to see it to believe it. Kimberly is an AI image and video creator who's telling stories that in a new, expansive way. And today she's going to help us reimagine what our second act can truly look like. So, welcome to the Dope Black Chick Podcast, Kimberly. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing well. I am doing well.
Awesome, awesome. Can you tell us? First of all, guys, I found her on LinkedIn, which is a great platform for Black people. I just think you should jump on there and see what's really going on in the world amongst Black people. But anyway, tell me about how you got into AI and creative technology.
So real quick, make a long story short. During the pandemic, so I'm a realtor. Full-time realtor, and I managed agents. And so I was getting into AI to help my agents to market themselves and to just, think of other ways and creative ways to put themselves out there and to brand themselves. And I am a marketer by heart. And so I grab on to technology regardless. And being that, I just started diving into AI. Chat GPT was first. And then I started getting into Mid-Journey, and that was 2 years ago. And then Mid-Journey, if you're doing images, that always leads to video. So I started doing video 2 years ago. And I know a lot of people are just now kind of jumping onto it, but I've been doing it for a while now. And now it is pretty much almost more AI than I'm doing real estate now, because it is just really a wonderful vehicle that everybody needs to start learning.
It really is. Now we're going to talk about, AI itself, ChatGPT as being the gateway. That's the gateway drug.
Yes.
But we'll talk about that. But I want to ask you, like, when you were moving from Mid-Journey into video, was there a moment where you realized, oh my gosh, we can do something powerful with this tool?
Yeah. I mean, immediately. I immediately recognized that because I'm an art collector. And so I've always been into art, into traditional art. And so as I started creating images with Mid-Journey and being a marketer, that just all tied itself together there, in that, we talk about, we don't see the images that we want to see. We don't see images that represent us, represent, Black people, don't represent people of color or underrepresented communities. And that could be from, size bias, and as well as, disabilities, etc. So with this tool, I realized I can create whatever I want to. If I want to create, Afrofuturistic people, I can do that. If I want to create people who are right now, right here today, marketing materials for companies, I could do that. So I realized that, like, right immediately, when I started working with it, and the light bulb just went off, and it was like, whoa, wait a minute. This is powerful. And what's really crazy, that was 2 years ago. And here we are 2 years later, and we're still at the early adoption phase.
Exactly.
AI. And so, I realized it then, and I realized I know it now.
Yes. You realized it before, but you know it. You know what you know.
And I've been putting a lot of it into action, and have been very successful with it. So yeah.
I love that. I agree. When I started working with it, which was a couple years ago, and when I started working with it, I was just like, oh snap, they done messed up now. Because it's like, if you have, I always tell, when I coach or when I speak at colleges, especially to the younger people, I always tell them, I'm like, you guys have such amazing tools at your fingertips that I wish I had
Yeah.
at your age. The stuff I was doing with the big old, you remember those big video cameras? I was
Oh
making
yeah.
movies
Oh
and
yeah.
all kinds of TV shows with these cameras. My mama thought I was crazy, but I was coming up with stuff with something like that. I didn't have social media. I didn't have any of this stuff. And I tell them, I'm like, guys, you have all these tools at your fingertips. It's literally in your hand. Do you know your potential? And I love that AI gives us that view into the potential of what Black people can do. We already know we do so much with so little. So you give us
Yeah.
something as powerful as this tool,
Yeah.
knock it out the box.
I don't think people realize the possibilities. I know that we see what we see on social media. We see the cute videos, we see the cute satire and people playing around and making
Mm-hmm.
videos of themselves or putting their face
Mm-hmm.
on using different applications to do that. But there's so much more
Yeah.
that you can do with that. I mean, I started having people reaching out to me um, from doing B-roll for documentaries,
Mm.
creating images and video for documentaries, and then I mean, it just kind of blew my mind when last year when I was approached by Layla Hathaway to do her video for the Tunnels video, and I did that. Who would have ever thought that I would be
Right.
creating somebody's official video for their album? And
Yes.
so you have that. Just recently, I was approached by a museum here in the Chicago area to help them to recreate some of their exhibits using AI. So there's so many possibilities that you can use this tool with,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that it's kind of untapped. You know.
Which leads me back to what I was saying, guys. If you're just tuning in, at the very top of the show, when I introduced Kimberly, I stated that I met her on LinkedIn, and I think it's a cool place for you guys to be, because you need to see the diversity of what Black people are doing and how the possibilities are endless for us. And LinkedIn just gives you a different perspective than what you're getting on some of these other social sites. So I just want to put that out there. Go there, because I just didn't see her on any other platform. I didn't see, I mean, of course, like you said, you do see the little videos. I see the little meme videos and stuff like that, those kind of AI things. But when I saw what I saw,
Yeah,
sis,
I know.
I am going to have a link to that video, guys, in the show notes. But
And
when I saw it, oh my goodness.
And here's what's so
Oh my
crazy, what's
goodness.
tripped out about it. So mostly you can find all of my videos on Instagram. And the way the algorithm works, obviously, which we
Mm-hmm.
can't figure out half the time, is
It
that
all
if you are looking for videos that are sort of similar to AI, or you've watched a lot of videos at AI, then they're gonna come up on your feed.
right.
Normally, not a lot of stuff is not going to come up on your feed unless it gets that viral, feel going to it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I've had that happen with a lot of my videos. One of my videos went viral and everybody was sharing it. It was around the election time. And a lot of people don't know that maybe it was my video, because you have people swiping the video and putting it on their pages and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But LinkedIn, back to your original comment, I don't like networking events and stuff like that. But I do realize the value of opening up your circle
Mm-hmm.
professionally and meeting people outside of your circle. And LinkedIn has definitely been that place. I've been on LinkedIn for years,
Right.
years, and for real estate and for other things. But now that I'm on here um with my AI and doing things, my page has kind of evolved, my profile has kind
Yeah.
of evolved, and it has opened up doors to others who are like-minded across the world, not
Mm-hmm.
just United States, not just in my community, but around the world. And that's where I think you need to thrive in. And so I would encourage, I've been telling people too, you need to jump on LinkedIn.
I'm serious.
Yeah, you need to jump on there. Yep.
Awesome. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the power of seeing ourselves in the future, because those videos. First of all, I'm an Afrofuturism person. Down. I'm a fan. I read that genre. I just love seeing it in the book in my mind. So, like, one of my favorite books is The Children of Blood and Bone.
Okay.
I love that series. And when I read the series, I'm like, why is this not on screen? Now, there is a film adaptation coming. But I don't know when that's going to be. You know how they do. They'll tell us it's coming and then we don't see it. But when I saw your video, your work, I was just like, now see, this is what I have in my head. And now I'm seeing it right in front of me. So, yeah, why do you think visual storytelling hits different for us, especially in this time?
So to explain that how it happens for me, I need to go back very quickly to where it all started. And you have to and I know you have that same experience as a Black girl. I don't know how old you are, but I'll tell my age. As a Black girl, okay. Well, I just made 55. And as a Black girl growing up in the 70s, I was exposed to two different things. And that was sci-fi, those Star Trek and the Jetsons and all of that. And the only person on Star Trek that looked like me was Lieutenant Uhura. And then you look at all the sci-fi, a child who looks at sci-fi back in that day, you saw so many possibilities, but you didn't see yourself in those possibilities. But I was also raised in a Black home that was very full of pride, full of ebonies, full of jets, full of every essence, everything that said you are powerful, you are beautiful, you are relevant, and it was a great time to be in. And so you combine all of that, and what you see in my work is what I envisioned as a kid. You see a little bit of the past and you see a little bit of the future. And what people need to understand is that it is so important that people hear stories that they can relate to, that reflect them. And so that's why right now, more so than ever, because a lot of our stories are being erased, or at least they're attempting to erase a lot of our stories, that it is so important to see ourselves in this. Now, let me also say this. With Afrofuturism, it's not just Wakanda. And there's nothing wrong with Wakanda. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to understand that Afrofuturism was Harriet Tubman. She saw a future. She saw something different. And she was very, very far ahead of her time in how she did what she did. Think about people of, Josephine Baker. That to me was Afrofuturism. So this was someone who was living in a time that said, you know what, I don't have to fit into this box. I can do things differently. I can do things that are just, forward thinking, etc. And so however you look at that genre, the bottom line is that you see yourself, and you see yourself in a positive, you see yourself in a forward thinking manner. And that is what, Afrofuturism is. And I know you didn't ask me that, but that's why it's so important that genre, is something that we have, or that anyone has. It's important for everybody to see someone who, is saying something positive, or an image that's positive, that's of them.
Perfect. Perfect. Because that was going to be a follow-up answer, is what do you want people to see? Like, so that's perfect. We talked earlier about tools, some of these AI tools. So let's talk about the gateway drug, which is ChatGPT for me. I love her. I absolutely, like, that's my girl. She is all
Yes,
things to me. Um, you know, I just see every day I see a new possibility with
yeah.
this learning. So let's talk about
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
So I recently saw a study that said that entrepreneurs of color are using AI more than entrepreneurs, other
Okay.
entrepreneurs. The issue is not that that they're not using it; it's that they're not using it to its
Mm-hmm.
fullest. And so for me, I use ChatGPT every day, but I use ChatGPT not just to write letters, not just to write emails, not just to come up with a recipe, not just for whatever. I use ChatGPT to
Mm-hmm.
strategize and to come up with, business plans and game plan. How are we going to get this, forward? And I'm telling ChatGPT, like I'm pretty sure you are, I'm telling ChatGPT, respond to me as if you are an expert in whatever it is, that I'm looking
Right.
to do. And that is how I do a lot. I do not get my image or video prompts from ChatGPT. I can tell you that right now. I do not do images on
Right.
ChatGPT. I don't use any of those. But I use ChatGPT for business purposes. Okay, here's the image, here's the video, here's what we're doing, here's the contact that I just made with this particular organization. How can I merge the
Yes.
two? You know, what's the strategy?
There you
You
go. That's
know,
that marketing mind right there. Boom. Because that is exactly how I
right?
use it. That's exactly it. Like,
Yeah,
connect the
yeah,
dots for me. Help me. This is what I'm thinking,
yep,
but I need you to elaborate
yep,
on those dots.
yep, yep. I tell everyone because I do teach classes, and I tell all of my because people come to my classes and they think that Kim's just going to show them prompts so that I can make images that look just
Mm-hmm.
like hers. I'm not going to do that. What I want you to do is first and foremost, if you want to be serious about the image and the video creation and everything else, whatever it is that you're doing with it, whatever it is, I don't dictate what you do with it. But I always say, do you have a mission and a vision statement for yourself? Create a mission and a vision statement for yourself. And I'm talking about, having
Yeah.
purpose with whatever it is that you do, and have Chat GPT to help you to formulate that mission and that vision statement on how you're going to move forward with whatever it is that you're going to do. And so, that's just
That's
the key,
good. That's good
to it
stuff.
for
We
me.
love that here on the Dope Black Chick
Yeah.
podcast because we want takeaways, people. It's more than just,
Yeah.
pretty pictures or nice videos. She's telling you something here. Use this tool
Yeah.
to come up with
Hmm.
a vision for yourself, a mission. What is your purpose? Um, like, you can utilize it for that reason. It can really help you dig deep
Hmm.
and find out
Yeah.
those special things that I call dopeness. It helps you pinpoint that, and then
Yeah.
it'll pull it out for you, and then it'll tell you how you can utilize that amazing
Yeah.
uniqueness.
Yeah. I say this. Once you pull that out, that mission and that vision, ask Chat GPT. Tell Chat GPT what your skill set is. Tell it. Tell it this is what I've done. This is what I'd like to do. This is what my strengths are. These are what my weaknesses are. And then ask it, give me one thing that I can do in the next week that will move me closer to that vision or to that mission. And you'd be surprised how you can, that's when you're really gonna be on Chat GPT all day, trying to
Listen,
strategize how you're gonna just take over the
that's a
world.
good prompt,
It's
y'all. That's a good prompt.
it's just a tool. Yeah, and it's so many people are so frightened and scared of AI. And I understand the concern. I do. I understand the concerns, but you have to use it as a
Yep.
tool because it's not going to replace you, as that saying goes. The person using it is going to
Come on.
replace you. And so,
You
you
got me over
gotta
here
you gotta
snapping and
just you gotta
everything.
move
Come on, that
forward.
because
You gotta
that's a word. That's what I'm trying to tell people.
yeah,
Like, oh, they gonna take all our jobs. Listen, nope. But the person who knows
no,
how to wield
no.
it, that's who's gonna take your
Person who
job.
knows how to do it, that's who's going to take your job. In the film industry, like what I'm doing, the images and the video, they say, oh, but it's not real. You're not doing whatever, blah blah blah. Guess what? in order for me to get my images to look the way that they do, I had to learn camera skills. I had to learn camera terminology. I had to learn film terminology, angles, what different film effects had. I had to learn all of that. Now, just think about the person who does this all time, full time, all day. They could come in and they could make my images look crazy. They just open their mind and use it as a tool, but I want to leave your people with this. At the end of the day, you don't have to create music videos for artists. You don't have to do stuff for museums. You don't have to do anything that I'm doing. One thing that we had in history, how we kept our history as African Americans, it was through what? A Bible, right? Where you would see everybody's family history in that Bible. And there's that one Bible that everybody passed around. Think of ChatGPT. I mean, not ChatGPT. Well, yeah, ChatGPT and image and video in that same way, because you can create your own images of your family stories. You can create, you have children and they don't have storybooks with images that look like them in it. Guess what? You can make your own storybooks with images that look like your children. That was the best storybook my mother gave me, was the one that had my name all in it. We all through the story. I thought I was in there with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and it was me. I loved that book when I was little. You can do that now. You know what I'm saying? And so sky is the limit. It really is. Take these tools and do with them what it is that, will just do whatever. But do something. But do something.
I love it. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you so much for joining us. You gave us some good stuff. I really, really hope that people are, gathering what you're saying, because it's so much more than, Chat GPT or AI is taking over. It's so much more than that. And I am so grateful to have someone that can share, their viewpoint and show the possibilities. I love what you're doing. I honestly, when I saw your video, it just really just gives me this inspiration and pride, and I just feel amazing watching it and seeing the possibilities. But I feel more seen and more inspired to visualize my own liberation. I think that Kim has reminded us that the power to dream again is sacred, and that imagining ourselves whole is the first step toward becoming. Pick up those jewels she dropped, because she definitely did. So here's your affirmation for the week, guys. I am the architect of my future. My vision is valid. My softness is strength. The future is mine to shape. Okay? So take that with you guys. And I thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Dope Black Chick podcast. Kim, how can people connect with you? Tell everybody how to connect with you.
So I am on LinkedIn under Kimberly Offord. I am on Instagram under the same name. I'm on TikTok under the same name. And you can always go to my website. It is www.playgroundpastime.ai. And you can go there and you can see my images, portfolio, everything. I have a film contest going right now, a AI film contest. And real quick, I specifically asked for videos and films that celebrated underrepresented communities. So I wanted to make sure we did that, but that's where everybody can find.
Thank you so much for joining us. And again, guys, we'll see you guys next week. Peace and blessings.